Hi, we are the group 3. We're going to tackle about millennials and millennials.
Millennials, also known as Generation Y or Gen Y, are the demographic cohort following Generation X and preceding Generation Z. Millennials or Filipino millennials. In Filipino terms, millennials are called Fillennials. They are described as the selfie generation and followers of social media. Increased use of familiarity with communications, media, and digital technologies.
What are the common friction among them? The common friction among them are misunderstanding, different opinions, also different views on things. Millennials all over the world share the same youth culture. It might be somewhat applicable in the case of the Philippines. However, like any other nation, Philippines has a unique history. Nonetheless, Filipino millennials or millennials still differ from the millennials in a sense that their personalities are still affected and shaped by the culture of the Philippines.
What causes the moral friction among millennials and millennials to the following?
Millennials are to be addressed as lazy, self-centered, and parents or the older generation may think that the millennial generation is unconcerned about anything and only wants to laugh, play games, and watching TVs. And millennial thinks that they know that they can do things well because of the advancement and modern ways that they have than those older generation. I believe there's always been difficulties and issues in families between parents or older generation and the
Millennials is called Millennials, and Millennials are referred as Generation Y. Millennials were born into technological world and came of age in a new millennium. They also were old enough to experience and comprehend from their peers, besides being the first generation to witness the advent of technology like the internet, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence. There are other character traits that millennials may share to their peers and to their environmental surroundings and people around them. As what Jose Rizal said, ang kabataan ay ang pag-asa ng bayan. This may reflect to their personality as human and how they give truly open-minded effort as well as honesty in order to achieve human fulfillment. These millennials are described as adaptive and most creative generation that can influence to others. If they show bad characteristics to their peers, it will eventually give bad impact to others. But if they will show good traits to their friends and other people around them, it will influence others to do the same. In short, millennials nowadays are the one can do to make changes.
Millennials is a timeline. Millennials is a fictional made-up timeline made up by some young teenager. Millennials is not an age group. It is only a timeline. At any given moment in time, age group differences can be the result of three overlapping processes. 1. Life cycle effects. Young people may be different from older people today, but they may well become more like them tomorrow once they themselves age. Number 2. Period effects. Major events, wars, social movements, economic downturns, medical, scientific, or technological breakthroughs affect all age groups simultaneously, but the degree of impact may differ according to where people are located in the life. Last but not the least, cohort effects. Period events and trends often leave a particularly deep impression on young adults because they are still developing their core values. These imprints stay with them as they move through their life. There are as many differences with generation as they are among generations. We didn't yet know which formative experience the millennials will carry forward throughout their life cycle. But we hope that the findings presented here begin to shine a light on what they are like today.
How should moral friction be resolved? To resolve moral friction, first realize that the friction is caused by one side demanding the right. That's tribalism. And tribalism is a backward zero-sum mentality where nobody wins and everybody eventually loses. It's like a pessimist demanding an optimist. Accept the glass is half empty, not half full, and calling them a bigot if they refuse. The damn glass is at 50% and the rest is just personal interpretation.